Today we're going to talk about enharmonic equivalents. An enharmonic equivalent is an alternate name for the same pitch. Every pitch has at least one enharmonic equivalent. Let's begin by reviewing sharps and flats. So a sharp is a half step up from a natural, and when we're looking at the keyboard, a natural is a white key, and a flat is a half step down from a natural. This black key is a half step up from D, so we would call it D sharp. If we're on D, the next possible thing that we run into as we go up is this black key. So D sharp, but also it's a half step down from E. There's E, half step down. So we can call this note both D sharp and E flat. D sharp and E flat are enharmonic equivalents because they are the same pitch called by two different names. Let's see another example. This black key here is a half step up from A. There's A. Next thing you run into as you go to the right is here. And also it's a half step down from B. There's B. As we go to the left, we also run into this black key. So we can call this note A sharp and B flat. B flat and A sharp are enharmonic equivalents. They're the same pitch called by two different names. There are two places on the keyboard where there's no black key in between. Those spots are E and F and B and C. E can be called F flat because it is a half step down from F because there's no black key here. So F, and as we go to the left, the next thing we run into is E. So this is called also F flat, and F can be called E sharp. Looking at this key B, we could call this C flat because again there's no black key here. So as we're going down the keyboard from C, the next thing that we run into as we go to the left is B. And similarly, we can call this key C, we can call that B sharp. B, and the next thing we run into going up is C. So we could call this C, or we could call it B sharp. So even the white keys have an enharmonic equivalent. We're going to look at even more of those because we're going to talk about double sharps and double flats. A double sharp is two half steps up from a natural, a white key, and a double flat is two half steps down from a natural. Here's our keyboard. Let's look at the key D. We can call this key C double sharp, and we can also call it E double flat. If we start on C and we go up two half steps, there's a half step, there's another half step, we end on D. So D is C double sharp, and we could also call it E double flat, E flat, double flat. This black key here we could call E double sharp, E sharp, because there's no black key in between E and F, double sharp. We could also call it F sharp, we could also call it G flat. So this key has actually many names. A, we could call it B double flat because it's two half steps down from B, B flat, double flat. We could call it G double sharp because it's two half steps up from G, G sharp, double sharp. We could also call it A. And our last example here, this key can be called C double flat because again there's no black key between B and C. So C, C flat, C double flat. We could also call it A sharp. We could also call it B flat. Now let's look at some different notes on the staff with our accidentals. So here are the accidentals: double flat, flat, natural, sharp. And the double sharp is not two sharps signs, it's this X with the fancy little feet drawn on it, but when you're drawing it you can just draw an X, you don't need to worry about those little feet. here's our keyboard again. So let's look at some examples on the staff. Example 1. The first thing we have to do is name the notes. There's E, F, and G. So G sharp, that's our first note. This one is A flat, so G sharp, we're going to find that on the keyboard. Here's a G, sharp means go up a half step. We're looking at this middle black key of the set of 3. And A flat, A half step down flat, also the middle key of these 3 black keys. So G sharp and A flat are enharmonic equivalents because they are the same note, this one, called by 2 different names. Example 2, we're going to name the notes again. You have to name the notes. E, F, G, A, B. That is a C double sharp. This is an C, D, E double flat. C double sharp, E double flat. Let's use the C. C sharp, double sharp. So C double sharp is the same as D. E double flat, E flat, double flat. Also, we land on the white key D. So in example 2, C double sharp and E double flat are enharmonic equivalents because they are the same key, called by 2 different names. Now I'm going to have you pause me and I'm going to have you figure out, for examples 3, 4, and 5, are the notes in those measures enharmonic equivalents or not? Example 3, hopefully you found that this is C natural and B sharp, and it's the same note. So they are enharmonic equivalents. Example 4, you have B flat, A sharp, and C double flat. They are also enharmonic equivalents. They are all this key on the keyboard. And example 5, you have D natural, E double flat, C double sharp. They are all this key as well. So all of these examples, the notes in each measure are enharmonic equivalents. And you can see, hopefully, if you were just to look at this on the staff and not actually take the time to name the notes and find them on the keyboard, you would probably assume, if you had to guess, that they are not going to be the same note because they don't even look that close on the keyboard or on the staff. But they are. So you do need to take the time and actually name the notes and actually find them on the keyboard and not just try to guess by looking at if they're really close or not. So that's really important. So that is enharmonic equivalence.